Greetings Rommies and welcome to Rum, the channel sharing the joy of sim racing, and today's, I think it's the 5th race of the ASRC T5 series, which at the end of the day is driving DTM cars from a mod from URD on tracks that at some point DTM Class 1 drove. Once again, I'm not alone commentating. You can hear the angelic voice of Cody. How are you, mate?
Hello. Angels we have heard on high coming at you. Sure. Hi. But yeah, Norisring. It's a very, very cool track. It's a really interesting street circuit with a lot of history. And it is going to be a good race today. Of course, DTM came here fairly regularly, I believe.
They still do.
They still do. But when they were racing these cars,
every year, it was a fixture also because it was sold out, and it was one of their best known tracks and so on. So yeah, like DTM was always here.
Yes.
As I said,
absolutely.
they still are.
Yep.
That's the interesting thing. But as you were saying, yes, it's an incredibly interesting track. It's a short track, all in all. It's a fast track because it's got a couple of quite long straights and corners that are fast corners. But then you arrive, as we are seeing, you arrive at that. Okay, so the car will not get that far. You arrive at the first corner in the race, and you are going fast. It is incredibly bumpy. That's something that you don't see in the images, but the track mod is made so as in the original, and the original track was and is bumpy. Let's not forget this is a street race at the end of the day. And those bumps even brought some heavy accidents in the DTM history. Luckily, as DTM was one of the most safe series of all, I think the worst that happened was that a driver broke his ankle, which is not good, but still compared to what happens to others, it's good enough. But yeah, that first corner is massively difficult to get, and that's something that the drivers were also commenting on during the week. And then there is the wall of shame, where in real life DTM most drivers lost their right wing, the right side, rear mirror, because if you take the corner at the right speed, it's the one after this corner that we see Walter taking. If you take that one at the right speed and you see how near they all come, you will lose that for sure. So it was infamous for costing all cars the right side rear view mirror.
In NASCAR, they've got a similar thing. Oftentimes, you're trying to run as close to the wall as you can on corner exit, especially on turn 4. So they call that earning your stripes. When you scrape up against the wall.
Absolutely, and that's something that happened regularly and still happens. I've seen images of the GT3 cars that they now drive at DTM, and they still do the same because that wall is really something. So we have 5 minutes until the end of qualifying. And let's see how after the 2 last races in Red Bull Ring, how we are. And no surprise here, Ryabtsev, after getting a second, so he got a penalty because he ended the race first, but he's shown here a second. Ryatsev is on first, Seifert is on second. Seifert, who did not race at Red Bull, and D'Amelio at third, Van Leuven at fourth, Monteiro fifth, Krustalev at sixth, Suvik at seventh, Lobo at eighth, Santos at ninth, and Shalomanov at 10th. Most drivers have been driving all races other than Ryatsev and Seifert, who had to step out for 2 races, and we have the team standings too. Not surprisingly, Alpa Racing Team, where Ryatsev and Krustalev race, is on first position and far away, but considering that it's always 2 drivers, maybe not that far. Arion Sim Racing Team 71 points away from Alpa on second, Rook Racing on third, that's where Seifert is, and Optiminal Esports on fourth with Sander van Leuven, and Lapa and Monteiro are in Origin Racing, which is at fifth. And things can change a lot here at Norisring.
That is for sure. So those stone grandstands that are on the start-finish straight, the big stone building, where you see everyone sitting there, that had a particular history to do with the events that happened in the 30s and 40s in Germany.
Yep.
Feel free to go and look that up. But we don't want to get demonetized, so we're not going to go too into depth about it. But I always thought that really funny that they took a structure like that and after the war decided, hey, let's go racing here. This is a great spot to do a race.
Well, on the other hand, many of these structures are left as an admonisher. Remember, there is this famous film where they make the swastika explode, and that is on that building. So they destroyed the symbols there, and they left that as an admonisher. As I said, there's a couple of buildings all around Germany that are left exactly as that, as a remembrance. In Munich, there is a wall where you see the holes of bullets, and it's a wall where many people opposed to the Nazis were murdered, were executed by the regime, and they've left that wall that way so that it's a remembrance and an admonition. And 30 seconds until the end of qualifying. We have interesting Meshedev, Valta, Ryabtsev, Maple are places 1 to 5. And remember, these races are 2 races. These days are 2 races. One is a 20-minute race, and you can see in the images how bumpy the ride is. It's a 20-minute race with the grid, the starting grid, in places 1 to 10 in a reverse grid from the qualifying, and then they have a 40-minute race with exactly the grid as the drivers qualified. And that 40-minute, ooh, and we see Walter lose control.
Definitely a risk of that.
Yeah,
during the race.
On that corner. Huh.
I'm seeing a lot of drivers were talking earlier in this championship about how a lot of these drivers were using a lot of slip angle. We're seeing a lot of slip angle as well in the car setups around this track, which I think is going to work a little bit less because this track is so bumpy.
Yeah, Yeah, I mean we have been seeing it in the images that we've been seeing at the moment, and you will see it also on the races. It is a street track, and therefore, while they've always tried and they still try to make it less bumpy, it is a street track, so they cannot make it completely smooth as a racing track would be. So yep. And that is something, as I said, that the drivers on the Discord were discussing a lot, that this was really a bumpy ride.
So now we begin the warm-up. Drivers will soon go out on track. We see our first one with Matthew Maple. This is actually, well, we see a few more before that. This is just for the drivers to get accustomed to their race setup. They previously just went through qualifying to determine the starting order of the race. And now they are going around testing things out with the setup that they'll be using over the course of the race, which might be a little bit different. We've covered this earlier, but it bears repeating just in case you're just now joining us and are kind of new to all of this. First off, we're very happy to have you. And second, these drivers run different configurations of their cars. Their wing might be a different angle. Their suspension might be set up slightly differently. Almost always they'll be running different amounts of fuel. That's one of the big things. The amount of fuel that you have for qualifying is as little as you can get around a couple laps with. And the amount of fuel that you have for the race is as much as you need to get you from one pit stop to the next. And so that's pretty different. And the cars handle differently at different weights of fuel. And so these guys are going out and they're getting reaccustomed to the setups that they've practiced with, that they have experimented with and settled in on. It looks like Ruven Mashed. How do you pronounce that last name? Machete?
If it's German, it's Machete.
Machete. Okay. So Ruven Machete, he qualified first, and so I've been looking at him during this warm up, and you're seeing drivers in the warm up drive a bit more conservatively. They're trying to get more accustomed to how they should be driving in the race, because in qualifying, if you crash, you just reset your car and go back. That's one of the ways that sim racing differs from real life racing. It's one of the things that makes it a lot cheaper. But these drivers are all getting ready for a 20-minute bout around Norisring. Oh man, seeing I don't know if actually I don't see what the stream is seeing. I only see what I'm seeing. But Ruven Mashed came into the pits, locked the fronts, and slid in very dramatically into the pit entrance. I wonder if that's going to be a moment that we're going to see with some drivers during the races today. Definitely a spot to watch.
So, warm up about to end. Then a couple of minutes for the server to get itself set up correctly. And one thing that I have to check is the weather, because it looks overcast, and the last thing that you want to suffer at Norisring is rain. Okay, no rain expected for the next 60 minutes.
Well, that should get us through most or all of our race today.
Yeah.
So, sounds like we're in the clear, even if it is a bit cloudy. But being a bit cloudy will mean that we have very predictable track temps. I don't think we'll have to worry too much about that.
So, Sender 463 is a Roven fan. See how they do.
Attention grid, will all non-essential personnel leave the grid now.
Everything is being set up for the start of the first race of 2. First cars are appearing on track. It's nice to see that the mod makers even included the camera people in there. So, for the start of this race, you'll have Shelomanov, Monteiro, Paparinopoulos, Reinhard, Krustalev, Seifert, Maple, Ryatsev, Walta, and Meshede in places 1 to 10. And we have heard these names a lot in the last races because they are always around the top 10, at least in qualifying.
And this is for the top 10 a reverse grid start, right? So
Yep.
it was Meshida who qualified first, so he starts in 10th. Filomonov qualified 10th, so he starts in 1st. And that just makes things a little bit more fun to watch as the quicker drivers try to pass the slower drivers. Makes the sprint a little bit more sprinty.
And spicy. So the first corner, which is a 180 in a very bumpy situation, is gonna be one to watch for. The wall of shame that we just left is gonna also be one to look for, especially on the first whatchamacallit, on the first lap or laps.
Mm-hmm.
And today, many more drivers were warming their tires than they did on the last race at Spielberg Red Bull Ring. I suppose all are very aware of how difficult it is to get a good entry into this first lap.
Yeah, I think, you know, maybe with the weather, I don't have access to the track temp, but it might also be a little bit cooler on the server today than it was. It certainly, you know, is more overcast, as we've mentioned. But here we go.
Try to run. Green,
Let's
green,
go
green.
racing.
Race has started. Ooh.
Thiago Monteiro gets the good start.
Yeah.
He gets out ahead of everybody there.
Let's see how the first corner goes. Okay, seems most right. No.
Uh-oh.
There's been a little bit of argy-bargy, but nothing really race-ending for anybody. Now we come to the wall of shame.
Man, look at all those cars, so thick and compact through there. Vladislav Zinkov continues the unlucky streak. He has spun out, had some contact, and into the wall there. Oh man, Vladislav Zinkov has not had a good season, and he comes out in last place, 22nd. But we come around. This is how quick the laps are. Lap 2, Thiago Monteiro still leading. Antonis Papadopoulos in second place. Benjamin Reinhardt in a close third. And the yellow flag in Sector 1 is out as there's a big crash. Luis Lobo is involved. Pablo Lopez Garcia was involved as well. Yeah, I think they all get back going again pretty quick. But that was a big spin from those drivers.
This track is one where you, as a driver, you don't have any breathing space. Like the most, and not even that because it's bumpy. It's the start and end straight. So you just survived one corner. You have to prepare the next. You survived the next. You have to prepare for the other one. And as you said, it's very short. You finish the lap in no time. Like it's less than 1 minute per lap. And you have one interesting corner after the other. It's fantastic to drive.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Seifert and Ockenhaug have a little bit of paint trading, but nothing too bad. Front, nobody is getting ahead of anybody else. Keeping very near to each other. We're starting to see like two main groups, places 1 to 5 and places 7 to 10 to 12 are at the moment the groups that are setting themselves up. That's always a great take when you see that corner from above.
You see Paparanopoulos getting ever closer to Thiago Monteiro.
Yeah, another thing of this track is it's not easy to overtake. Even on the start and end straight, when you leave the racing line, it gets difficult. Oh, I think Ockenhaug had an issue because I see him dropping down.
Oh, Stefan Vesely. Let's see, Stefan Vesely. He has crashed hard. Yaroslav Kushlev gets a little bit squirrely as well, I think, in a separate incident. But Stefan Vesely, right on the final corner, spun out and spun hard into the wall. He is able to get going again, but that car definitely picked up some damage.
And we're watching Shalomonov and Meshedev battle it for 7th. And Meshedev goes on the inside. And is able to make it.
Yeah, they definitely touched there after the corner.
Yeah, well, it's DTM is a contact sport.
Oh, it's certainly a contact sport. That is for sure. Fabian Walter sets the fastest time of the race, 47 point. Let's see, what was that? 47.3 seconds. Yeah.
And Paparinopoulos is trying to get Monteiro's place, but no. Was looking at the inside to get this corner on the inside, but then felt better. But you can see on the images how bumpy this ride is. In fact, one of the drivers was commenting that he was very happy that his motion rig didn't arrive in time, so he didn't have to use it for this track.
That's funny.
I mean, you can always turn it off and drive it. Oh, and we have Ockenhaug taking Maple's place as Maple, and Zenkov cannot navigate. I think it was Zenkov cannot navigate that corner. Ah, no, it was.
Oh no, Sergei Sapoznikov, the other Slavic name, ends up actually slowing down Vladislav Zenkov as he comes around the corner. He was held up there in the corner. Timon Suvic gets a little bit squirrely coming around. Can't remember which corner that was, but meanwhile, Thiago Monteiro still leading the race. Antonis Papanopoulos still in second. Benjamin Reinhardt still in third. No changes here as we come to 13 minutes to go in this race, in this 20-minute race.
Vesely went into pits and then DNF'd. Suppose after he went out, he wanted to see. He needed repairs, and he saw that the repairs would take longer than the race or something like that.
Yeah, he had a pretty hard hit into the wall, so I could imagine 12 minutes of damage, and R Factor 2's damage system was not out of the question. So checks out.
And you see the drivers navigating that first corner that is very difficult to get around. You have to tune your wheel so that you can take that the best way possible. And we see Paparinopoulos all the time looking at the inside, seeing if he can get Monteiro nervous, but nah, I don't think so.
When I was a kid, there was this old video that was uploaded to YouTube. I think it was some rip of a VHS. And, yellow in Sector 3. I don't see much going on. I think whatever it was not severe. But anyways.
Paparinopoulos may be getting... No, he didn't get a better exit than Monteiro, but he already got his nose in. So you were saying about the video.
Yeah, this video is from I think 1984 or something like that, and it was all 1980. I think it was 1980, because it was all these Group 5 cars, all these old DRM Group 5 cars, all going around that corner. So you had Porsche 935s and BMW M1s and all sorts of just amazing pieces of machinery, all racing around that car, and you just saw the blowback from the exhaust. You saw them locking the brakes coming into the corner, and then you saw him just disappearing instantly whenever they rounded out and got going again after the corner. That would have been a great place to go see those cars race. Fantastic corner to be at, even today.
In fact, that corner is you have a stand there because, of course, a lot of people want to see the action, especially that corner, which is very difficult to overlook. Seifert is in pits.
Yeah, if you're in pits in a 20-minute race, it's not going your way.
Nope. And Paparinopoulos is trying to find a way around Monteiro, but
yeah, Montero has been dominating this race. There has been no changes in the top 4 drivers since after the first lap. It has been pretty darn consistent with these guys racing. All of the battles have been in mid-pack, and even still.
we saw Paparinopoulos' car almost taking too much air. You see how bumpy it is, especially when you watch his car. Ooh, he's keeping very near, less than a second.
Yeah, we might
near.
see some action here. Montero diving down, taking a very good defensive line through the corner. Paparinopoulos got forced to the outside, got a little squirrely. Montero was able to keep it. Montero is very good at driving defensively, as shown there. Paparinopoulos trying to take a different line. I think he ends up maybe getting into the back of Thiago Montero, and Montero slides out. And Montero's down into 4th.
Ay. He's not gonna be a happy one.
That'll see some review, but it might have even been a little bit of the the net code as they say. But definitely one that warrants looking at. But they're definitely racing each other hard. But that's our first change that we've seen in the leaderboard, and we might see another one as Benjamin Reinhardt gets the inside line and forces his way into the lead. So it's now Reinhardt, Paparinopoulos, and then Montero. We have reversed the top 3 over the course of the last 2 laps.
Paparinopoulos must be biting his tongue to not swear too loudly. Now that he expected to be first. Once again, and Monteiro runs into Paparinopoulos. Hits him hard, but they don't lose control. But Paparinopoulos now is 3rd. But those 3 are within seconds. No, of tens of seconds. Can end in tears. Yatsev and Valda exchange positions. So the top 5 drivers are still in the top 5, but the places have changed. Oh, Paparinopoulos' car got a little bit squirrely there. Ryatsev is looking at the inside. I think he's gonna take Paparinopoulos' place.
I think so. But they stay alongside each other. Paparinopoulos forces him down to the inside. And they are side by side, neck and neck, scraping paint as they go. And Ryabtsev really forces Paparinopoulos down, slows them both down, and Fabian Walter takes the advantage on both drivers. And so now Fabian Walter has a stint here in 3rd place. But man, here we go. The race is really heated up now as they are all racing alongside each other here. Fabian Walter still in the lead. Roman Ryabtsev with the inside line going into the hairpin corner here. And now it's 3 wide as they come out for a moment. Paparinopoulos slides in behind Ryabtsev there. It's still Ryabtsev. Walter is alongside. Paparinopoulos is drafting off of the back of Ryabtsev to get past Fabian Walter. And Paparinopoulos goes slides into Walter. There was contact that sent Paparinopoulos sideways into the corner and ended up tapping Walter, who ultimately ended up behind the both of them. Man. Benjamin Reinhardt and Thiago Montero still 1-2.
Yeah, that can't cheat. No. But we saw also Montero's car bumping around like crazy.
Vladislav Zinkov into the wall yet again.
Ah, no.
There at turn 1.
We're watching now.
Reinhardt and Montero. Go ahead. Oh, go ahead.
No.
Yeah, Montero and Reinhardt, the battle did not slow down. These guys are still going at it. They were a little ways alongside each other for a moment. Montero is catching up to Reinhardt. Look here on the straightaway, Montero in the draft of Reinhardt and looking to the outside line and then maybe looking to slingshot, but Reinhardt's able to defend. Both drivers taking a very, very inside line, very defensive line coming around to the start-finish straight is that they now go past. And we are down to the last 4 minutes, 30 seconds of this first race. Remember, this is not the end. Stay tuned because we have another race right after this one. 40-minute race, same drivers, same place. But this here is the sprint, and then that one is a little bit more of an endurance. And these guys right now, they are racing like there is 4 minutes left on the clock, because there is. Montero gets halfway alongside Reinhardt for just a moment. Reinhardt has the better exit and maintains his tentative lead here as they come around again. We're going to see several more laps here in 3 minutes and 46 seconds because this is such a short lap, but so much action to it. Reinhardt still able to defend. Montero gets ever closer and then is maybe able to get in a little bit, but Reinhardt's able to defend. Montero slips up just a little bit, puts his car where he shouldn't. Montero, you can see, using a bit more of the space overall. In real life, these drivers run all the way up to that wall. Sim racing, there's a little bit less of a benefit to it. Montero here, going for a bit of a slide move to try to get on the inside. Reinhardt was defending on the inside. Montero goes into the back of Reinhardt. I think just barely enough that it doesn't damage either of those cars too terribly. Either way, they're going to keep racing to the bitter end here. 3 minutes left in this race. Reinhardt locks the brakes really, really hard into turn 1, and Montero is able to slingshot under him, and Montero, hard fought, takes the lead in this race here. 2 minutes, 41 seconds left to go. Reinhardt has shown pace. Montero has shown that he has got what it takes to take the lead, and he does it. Reinhardt raced ever so perfectly, but just one slip up and the lead changes. But now Montero here, as we are coming down to the wire, he is going to have to defend against Reinhardt. But Ryabtsev, look at him. He is starting to approach Reinhardt, and it might be a battle for second for Ryabtsev, depending on how the next 2 minutes of this race goes.
Which is about 2 laps and a half.
Absolutely.
Meanwhile, we're watching Ockenhaug, Uhilal, and Meshede. For 9th. But things are heating up between Ryabtsev and Paparinopoulos.
I remember Meshede, he was the guy who took pole in the qualifying for this race. But then that means with the format here that you start in 10th place. And so he has been working very, very hard, but has only been able to maintain roughly the position that he's in. He's dropped down one actually into 11th place. Ohilal. Whoa, Meshede and Seraphim both spin at the same time. I don't think they got into each other, but they have caused a massive traffic jam. Matthew Maple and Luis Lobo are stuck behind him. They get around him. Ruven Meshede has not moved. He is now retired from this race. I think some perhaps understandable frustration probably caused that of getting down to the last minute. We're in the last minute of this race. Paparanopoulos and Ryabtsev alongside each other as we come around the final corner here. It's a battle between the two of them, and it is Ryabtsev in third place now. Paparanopoulos in fourth. They traded positions for a split second there at least, as we were looking at the downstream battle. Montero has got a little bit more of a lead on Reinhardt, but second through fifth we have Reinhardt, Ryabtsev, Paparanopoulos, and Fabian Walter drops back a little bit more. But it's a battle. It's a battle to the bitter end, and the bitter end it is. 7 seconds left to go to call the flag. This will be the last lap here. Thiago Montero crossing the final lap here at 0, and so checkered flag is waved. It is Thiago Montero who takes it.
And second, Reinhard, Ryabtsev, Paparinopoulos. And Walter places 1 to 5 have stayed places 1 to 5, but not in the exact order. Oof. Man, Meshed and Vesely DNF. Bitter pill for Meshed, who, of course, in the next race is gonna be on pole. But man. And it's interesting how well, I mean, the bumps are so strong that even when they drive slowly, you notice them.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'd say driving very slowly, you'll notice even more of them. Yeah, driving quickly allows you to fly over at least some of them.
Do that.
Well, now we calm down a little bit as the drivers don't entirely get to rest. They have to then gear up for the next race, the 40-minute race around the same circuit, same conditions. And that one gets a little bit more interesting because you learn a lot as you race against your competitors here. And so whenever you go into the 40-minute race, everyone's gone into it with 20 minutes of very recent, very useful experience.
Oh, yeah. Well, some of them less than 20 minutes, the two that DNF'd and so, but...
Mm-hmm.
Agreed, all in all. And yeah, we have a small breather. We'll get some warm-up once again. Oh, and look, the sun is shining. The things with sim racing. You restart the sun was shining, now it's overcast once again. The magic of sim racing. I mean, if they would have real weather, the problem would be that it's dark. We have almost 9 and it's really dark here in Germany. It's one of the things that I had to get accustomed when I moved from Spain to Germany. At 4 it's already night here. And a couple of weeks to go until things change again and it gets the days get longer. On the other hand, imagine Finland. So many other drivers come back from their warm-up lap. They don't need, it seems, their warm-up lap as much as they did for the first race. Still 2 minutes in warm-up.
Shut it down. Shut it down. Let's burn the roof. And then we'll do it again. Let's do
1 minute until the end of the warm-up, then we'll have a little bit of service setup, and then we'll start the second race, 40 minutes around Norisring. Warm-up has come to an end. Second race, 40 minutes. One obligatory pit stop is gonna start in 1 or 2 minutes.
attention grid where all non-essential personnel leave the grid now.
Right. Driver positions have been set up based on qualifying. And the first drivers are setting themselves on the track. Which kind of driver are you, Cody? The one that goes on track the minute that is allowed, or do you take your time until you get to the grid?
I go to the restroom. No, I'm just kidding. I make sure that I've loaded the right setup, and I double check everything, and then as soon as I'm done double checking everything, I go to the grid. How about
So
yourself?
that's what bottles are for.
That
It
is
depends.
that is a take. That is a take.
It depends. Normally I go there and then I just close my eyes and try to forget that I'm gonna race. Then as soon as lights go on, as they already did. Ah, no, that was just the info light. Because as always, we do one lap, preparation lap, or warm-up lap, or whatever you want to call it. And then we're gonna start. Second and last race of the day at Norisring with these fantastic Class 1 cars. One obligatory pit stop within the 40 minutes of the race will. For once, ASRC is not driving one of their own mods, but a mod from UARP. Just in case you're not that well versed in the world of R Factor 2 mods, the ASR is one of the most prolific makers of exceedingly good mods, which they use for their own races. This time, they found a mod that... so I suppose they did not go around making their own mod because they found this and it was good enough.
Yeah, United Racing Design makes some fantastic mods, mostly for Assetto Corsa, but they've ported several of them over to R Factor 2 to great success. This was, I think, one of the first ones that they made properly available.
It's a paid mod, by the way.
It is, yes.
I was gonna say because that's what they live off, but we don't live off. And lights are on. Second race
Some people
starts
do.
now.
Let's go. Mished starts us off. Riyab 7 third, gets a really good start. Coming around here to the first corner.
Oh!
Fabian Walter, big spin. Big spin causes a big pileup. Or did almost, yeah, caused a pileup, definitely, which caught pretty much all of the Origin Racing team and has pushed all of them all the way to the back. Just kind of strange that it worked out that way, but yeah, Ruiz Santos, Mario Serafim, Thiago Lapa all sent to the back from that crash. And Thiago Lapa has no rear wing. So that is going to be, and yep, there's a slide from Thiago Lapa trying to make it around. If he didn't know that he didn't have a rear wing, he does now. Yeah, so that's going to be Thiago Lapa's competitive race done. Roy Seifert in second place here, got a very good first lap. Antonis Paparanopoulos, who was second for the majority of the race last race, is now in third. Benjamin Reinhardt in fourth. Krustalev in fifth. Matthew Maple in sixth.
Ryatsev seventh. Montero eighth. Interestingly enough, Paparinopoulos is in third. I suppose he's hoping things are going well. A little bit down, you have Uhilal and Zenkov. And behind them, Lobo and Valta. And yeah, that first corner there's always action. Not always such catastrophic action, but that first corner is very difficult to navigate. Especially from what I heard with and who is that? Uhilal spins all by himself and loses a lot of position. So from what I heard from interviews with DTM drivers, there's a couple of bumps exactly where you start braking for the first corner, and that makes, of course, braking even more difficult and the corner even more difficult, because if you have a bump while you're braking, you can never be sure that you're gonna be braking fast enough and in time. Watching Ryatsev and Monteiro battling for 7th. And La Paz deal. Without a rear wing, it's difficult to do a race.
Yep. Paparanopoulos sets your new fastest lap pretty early on in this race, but it's a solid 47.5 seconds.
So the fastest in the race before was 47.3, if I remember correctly. But there's still space to grow. Interestingly enough, at the front things have kinda calmed down. Kinda. They can flare up soon enough. But behind that, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th, we're keeping an eye on those and showing you also where there are battles. Because Zenkov, Valta and Lobo battling for 11th. ASRC T5 championship gives points for the first 20 places. And Valta gets ahead of Zenkov. Ryatsev against Monteiro for 7th. Interestingly enough, now that Meshede could start already the race on first, he is taking off. Vesely is on a 14th position. Let's hope that he keeps that. Or even gets better than that. And Ryatsev and Monteiro are now near enough to Maple, so it's becoming a three-way battle. I swear, when you're driving, that first corner does never end. You're like, come on, come on, come on, let me go on the throttle once again.
Yeah, for a 180-degree corner, it's met, you know, after kind of that little jaunt to the right, and so you're already like thrown away
Yeah.
from, you know, the optimal line to go around that that hairpin, and so you have to, you know, get onto that line. So that's part of the corner, and then you curve, and then it curves back the other way. So you've also, you know, kind of got to like keep turning even as you're getting on the accelerator. So it's like there's just so much steering that goes on before you can ever like get a clear shot of of just straight on driving. That's one of those things that corner you really have to be prepared for.
Yeah.
Every time you go around
it may not be, but it feels like one of the slowest 180s that of all tracks all around.
And because this track is so short, you're doing it a lot. So that adds to the feeling. It feels like a solid, you know, 7th or 8th of this whole track experience is just turning for a hairpin.
And you're like, come on, when does this ever end? And by the way, while we are discussing the first corner, we are watching Ryatsev, Maple, Monteiro just battling and battling and battling and battling. It's an incredibly interesting battle that they are giving us. Oh, Zhuralev has also DNF'd. We see Maple getting near to Ryatsev, but still not being able to make it. Serafim in pits. I don't think that this is a normal pit stop. Lopez Garcia once again in pits. And we keep our eyes on this three-way battle between Ryatsev, Monteiro and Maple. Because Monteiro and Maple get better.
Monteiro taking the very defensive inside line that gives Maple the opportunity to slingshot around, but Maple did not have near as good enough of a line to manage that.
That's also getting that for
Oh, Maple getting really sloppy going around the corners there.
He survived it.
He had set himself up really poorly on the right-hand corner. You know, that's kind of a right-left jaunt. He set himself up really poorly on the right hand, and then for the left, he was just totally out of line, and you saw the consequence of that.
I mean, as I said, at least he survived it, which is something that you normally cannot. I think he's having some issues, maybe setup issues, or his tires are toast, because he's having some issues navigating the cars.
Possible, yeah. And he's still quick. You know, he wouldn't be maintaining 8th place if he weren't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's what's holding him back. Certainly, he's not been able to surpass Monteiro in this, and you can see the gap that has come up between those two drivers, and it's only grown since he had his issue.
Barinopoulos and Zaifat are near enough to each other, but for the moment not that much happening. Let's move to 9th, battle for 9th, Sapochnikov against Venta. Keep an eye on what is happening with Paparinopoulos and Seifert. We're getting ever so near Sapochnikov. And he gets the better line and gets the position. At first corner. Not getting rid of Sapochnikov easily. Not for me.
Not many people do. He's a good driver.
We move back to Paparinopoulos against Seifert because they are neck and neck. Now imagine this in real life with all the bumps. Oh, and we see Paparinopoulos taking the Seifert's position. Very clean overtake.
Yeah, and Seifert stays glued to the back of Paparinopoulos, though, saying, "This is not over." And they go halfway alongside each other into the braking zone. Seifert tries to... Oh, he tries to slingshot under the inside of Paparinopoulos, but he got slidey on the inside there, taking a tighter line. You are at much more of a potential to slide out whenever you try to get on the throttle. That's exactly what happened to Seifert, and Paparinopoulos gets a little bit more insurance scot-free.
Pits, and I think I have to restart the overlay because we have Lopez Garcia, who is shown all the time in pits, and that cannot be right. Chapter 2 has its Valentine in pit. Vesely DNFs! Oh!
Oh! Oh boy.
No bother.
That's unfortunate. He was 2 laps down. So he may have just not seen it as worth it to continue. But nonetheless, the race continues. Meshida has really got quite the lead going.
Yeah,
4.5 seconds ahead of everyone else is nothing to shake a stick at on a lap that you can get around in 47 seconds.
We are slowly but entering how do you call it? The pit stop shuffle.
Yes, yeah, the pit stop shuffle started kind of early. We saw some drivers coming in with like 31 minutes to go. That was very early. But yeah, we're seeing more and more cars come in and then subsequently out of the pits. I'm not sure if we've got any in right now. Yeah, certainly we've had some drivers come in. None of the leaders, though. Meshida, Paparinopoulos, and Seifert, and Benjamin Reinhardt certainly is not one to be left out of the conversation. They have not come in quite yet. We will let you know when they do, because that's the real interesting stuff to watch in the pit stop shuffle is where they come in versus where they come out.
So we got the information Vesely had too much damage. And, he'd be 5 laps down at the end of the repairs. That's why he did. And Zenkov in pits. Thanks for letting us know, Monkey. Oh, somebody was off.
Who?
I think it's Ohilal. If I see it correctly. Let me check. It's, I don't see him anymore, but yeah. And we have a three-way battle between Maple, Sapochnikov, and Shalomonov. For 7th.
Yeah, Maple, he's dropped down from the battle that he was having with some of the top guys. Sapochnikov comes in to pit. That is pitting in from 6th place. I'm sorry, not from 6th place. Not at all from 6th place. From 9th place. And Sapochnikov is followed by Luis Lobo.
Yeah, pit stop.
But your leaders remain Meshida, Paparnopoulos, Seifert. None have come into pit yet. Roy Seifert now comes in. That's your first one. Comes in, pits in 3rd place. So we'll have to see where Seifert comes out, if he does better or worse than 3rd place whenever the pit stop shuffle is all said and done.
And Ockenhaug is also in pits now.
Yellow out in sector 3. I think that's was
strange. Can you check Khrushchev's car? I see smoke coming from behind the car.
You know, I saw smoke coming from somebody earlier. I didn't see who it was. I'm looking at Khrushchev now. I'm not seeing smoke.
Okay.
Yeah, from Khrushchev at least, I'm not seeing smoke.
Okay, because sometimes R Factor 2, well, not sometimes, R Factor 2 does show motor damage, and you can overheat the motor and so on. So, oh, Ockenhaug DNFs.
Uh-oh.
Like,
I'm not quite sure why he would have done that.
maybe he was the driver that was off.
Maybe, yeah, he might have been the one who was smoking.
Well, I still, and you can see it on the stream. Khrushchev's car is showing smoke coming from.
Oh, is it Khrushchev? See, I'm looking at the same driver, and I'm not seeing any smoke on my end.
Okay, then
R
it may
Factor
be
2
just
doing R
R
Factor 2
Factor
things.
2
Yeah. I have those particles and stuff turned on, so I would see that, but I'm not currently.
And Parinopoulos goes into pits. We check Maple and Shalom. Maple goes into pits. Actually keeping out.
What battle are we watching right now on stream?
Not really a battle. We're just looking at Meshida driving. Do you have a battle? Oh yes, Sapochnikov and Lobo we could look at.
Yes, yeah, that's what I was going to try to bring you to. Sapozhnikov
Ooh.
gets a big slide there. That's going to
Yeah.
allow Luis Lobo to get past him. Yeah, he gets past him. Not by a
What?
whole lot, though. But, yeah, we see the pass. Meshida, your leader, now comes into the pit from the lead. It's Meshida. Roman Ryabtsev following close behind. He was in second. Still is, but won't be here in a moment. But it's going to be a pit stop battle between Meshida and Ryabtsev on who's going to come out first.
Well, first.
Yeah, he really will, because he actually has just come out of the pits.
See?
So right as Ryabtsev gets moving. So yeah, I think what's really going to be the story there is that Meshida came out a lot sooner than Ryabtsev. Ryabtsev wasn't in for very long, but Meshida really splashed and dashed it. So I think his lead is only going to grow.
It's quite possible that he really only changed tires and he was built up.
Fair enough. Montero, has he done his pit stop yet?
I think not. And Shalomonov goes in pits, which will give Meshida the lead once again.
Absolutely, and he takes it, and there's Paparanopoulos there in second behind Meshida. So it's now Meshida, Paparanopoulos, and Seifert, as it was. And that's the pit stop shuffle.
Meanwhile, we're watching Montero and Ryabtsev for 6th. Montero bumping in. Keeping with that battle, Montero against Ryabtsev. Montero is gonna get position. Yep, he does. And today, Reflector 2's especially stupid. They have to restart the tower over and over again.
Around on track. Ryabtsev and Montero is still your closest battle. Second closest, though, just to keep you all up to date, Matthew Maple is trying to catch up to Sergei Sapozhnikov, but he's about a second back. Or actually, whoa! Actually,
No.
we've just seen a big change there.
Yeah.
He went from about a second back, hit the brakes real hard into the first corner, and then swung around Sapozhnikov and was able to close the 1 second gap, get ahead of Sapozhnikov, and now has a half-second lead on him. That's something.
And is able to keep that lead, which is not something that is so easy to do.
Ryabtsev, though, and Montero are battling it out, and we see a change for 6th. Thiago Montero takes it from Ryabtsev.
While at the front, Meshide is 6 seconds away from number 2, Paparinopoulos.
I'll take that lead, please.
Oh,
I'd like that one.
Khrushchalev gets a little bit too near to Valta. I was gonna say kissing his behind, but that sounds
A little bit of a different meaning to that one.
yep. In any case, those two are battling for position for fourth, and Shelomanov has DNF'd. It's interesting how many DNFs we see in the 40-minute race.
You would think the drivers would be more cautious, but
Yeah,
as with anything, driving for longer does allow for more opportunity for a
mess it
race-ending
up.
incident. So, you know, there's only... you can only be so cautious whenever you're on a street circuit and you have to race to win.
especially in such a bumpy track. Kuchtalev trying to find a way around Valta still, 4-4. We're down to 17 drivers from 22. One of my cats is clawing her way up the Simlap seat.
Oh no! Hopefully not with claws fully out,
Oh yes,
but probably with claws fully out, yeah.
the seat is surviving, so that speaks in favor of the seat.
True, true.
But I could have produced a
Sim racing seat that doubles as a cat tree?
well, no, that's what my cats do with my seats anyway. And
Khrushchev.
Car goes all squirrely on braking on the first corner, and he loses 1 second to Valta.
I suppose on the topic of the cat tree seat, the purpose of a system is what it does. You know? So I guess if it already is, then, you know, it already is.
But no, what I wanted to say is some tiger-proof, tiger-resistant thing. Rom considers this seat to be tiger-resistant, something like that, because the seat, the Simlap seat, is unfazed. My cat's antics. On the other hand, my cat is unfazed by the Simlap. She's on top and looking at me saying like, what? So while we're talking cat seats, we don't have any big battle. We have Meshede 7 seconds away from Paparinopoulos. Meshede, who DNF'd in the first race, is 7 seconds away in first position, having done the fastest lap of the race with 47 seconds and 1/100th of a second, 47.01. Paparinopoulos on second, Seifert on third, Valta on fourth, and Khrushchev on fifth. Luckily, we've seen 5 drivers DNF: Shelomanov, Ockenhaug, Vesely, Shodolev, and Lapa. battle for 6th between Monteiro and Ryatsev. 8.5 minutes to go, still on this second race. Ryatsev getting very near. For a minute I thought he was not able to break in time, but no.
My, how time flies. 7 minutes, 40 seconds left to go in this 40-minute race. And Macheta has done very, very well to maintain his lead through the whole race. Paparanopoulos has been second for life, it would seem, over the course of this race weekend. And Roy Seifert has had a much better time this race than in the previous.
Not to speak of Michelin.
Right, that's very true. That's very true.
Meanwhile, we keep watching what Monteiro and Ryatsev are doing. Ryatsev trying to get 6th position for Monteiro. On board with Ryatsev, watching how he manages this track and tries to get in front. In any case, you see how much he's got to correct. It
Definitely a
shows
very loose car.
It shows also how much on the edge he's driving. And we're keeping an eye on we're keeping an eye on other battles, but for now the battle Monteiro Ryatsev for 6 is the first one. Fantastic. While at the front the battle for first is non-existent.
Yeah, this is. There's been interesting battles here at Norisring, but there's been very few interesting battles for the lead, with the exception of the last few minutes of race 1, which, of course, those are the most important few minutes. Is the last few minutes, if it's going to be interesting. That was a much more interesting, exciting race, but Meshida here has really shown that the Norisring is his track, because he is leading by 8.5 seconds. That's incredible.
I mean, nobody cares if you were the lead during 23 hours and 59 minutes of the 24 hours of Le Mans if you don't end up in the lead.
That's right, Toyota. Sorry, what was it? 2016. That was painful. Oh, I see smoke coming from Matthew Maple's car, and he's slowing down, big time. What's going on with Matthew Maple?
Yes. Oh yes.
Oh, that's a problem. It looks like he's blown an engine.
Yeah. Holy smokes.
Quite literally. There's smoke all over the track.
Oh well.
Man,
That's gonna be a
that with
DNF.
3 minutes left to go in the race. Dang. Well, he's parked in a easy spot to get around at least.
As I was saying, R Factor 2, that's something that it does.
Oh yeah. Engine malfunctions can happen, and it sucks too because he's run a pretty darn good race these past two, but it really just hasn't paid out for him. Played out for him.
He's the
Yeah.
2 minutes to
Meshta-
go until the end of the race. We're
Meshta
watching
looking to lap Suvic. Go ahead, Montero.
Yeah, we're looking at Montero against Riadse for 6th. Still the hottest battle of the night.
And with 2 minutes left, Ryabtsev's going to really have to get moving if he's going to get around Montero for 6th place here.
He keeps trying.
Oh, absolutely. But we've seen with Montero, especially in race 1, that he can really defend like there's no tomorrow. And a lot of that just comes down to being faster than the other guy. If you don't let the other guy get close enough to make a move, then you don't really have to do too much defending, at least in terms of direct movements. If you can just maintain your line and just pretend like he doesn't exist back behind you, which is easier for some drivers to do than others, then you're set. Montero seems to be pretty set, but Ryabtsev is, I think, driving a better race slightly. Certainly taking more advantage of the racing line and using the space more, at least what I've seen. And so I think that is enough for Ryabtsev to stay behind Montero. Montero, though, has some room to move to if he needs to and still maintain his line. So I am not predicting that in this 45 seconds left of race that we have that Ryabtsev's really going to be able to make any serious moves around Montero, but I'm very happy to be proven wrong.
Meanwhile, Meshta is gonna start the lap of the race. 30 seconds to go. He just crossed the start and end line.
So that means this is it.
Riadse has one lap to get and a bit to get ahead of. And he tries. Ooh, he tries a little bit hard. And Montero keeps the position.
Meshta is about to cross the line for the win. There he is. He gets it. And Benjamin Reinhardt was trying to slow down enough so that Meshta would pass him before he crossed the line, but it didn't happen. So now Reinhardt's going to have to go around and finish his lap if he wants to log his position.
Montero lost control of the car. I don't know if it was because of Ryabtsev, but now Montero is on 8th position while Ryabtsev is on 6th.
Well, I mentioned that I was happy to be proven wrong, and I was proven wrong.
Well, we'll see after race control looks at that what happens.
That's true. That's true. But Meshta, Paparanopoulos, Seifert, that is your 1, 2, and 3 of race 2 here at Norisring for the ASRC. Well, I think that those were some pretty good races, especially race 1 there at the end.
Yeah.
It got extremely exciting.
trying to organize an interview with number 1 and number 2, especially Paparinopoulos, who also had a very good first race. And let's not forget, the next week, 15th of December, round 6 at Spa-Francorchamps. Spa on Class 1. That's gonna be the reverse of Norisring, as Spa is not exactly the shortest track in the world. And then
we love it all the more for it.
Oh yeah. And then on the 22nd of December, the last race at Hockenheimring.
In the snow, right? Because Christmas, right?
Yeah.
Totally.
And here he is, Meshede, the winner of this second race. Hi, congratulations.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you very much.
That was a complete reverse from the first race, huh? In the first race you DNF, and here you not only win, but you win with something like 9 seconds in front of Paparinopoulos.
The first race was a struggle for me, as I didn't get to grips in the first few laps. Then I had a collision with Roy Seifert and another collision with a BMW driver, which leads to a DNF in the first race, I think. Without the collisions, I could have been also on the podium in the first race. But the second race was just a clean sweep. Unfortunately, Fabian Walter got spun out in the first corner, so I don't know. I think he had some pace also, but yeah, super happy with the result.
Yeah, so I won't ask if it was easy peasy, because it's Norisring, and Norisring is never easy peasy. But it must have been easier than on other tracks and on other races, because I mean, you don't get 9 seconds in front of the second one when you're having a hard time.
I mean, Norisring looks really easy, but
oh no,
it's like you have like to nail 4 corners to get a really good lap in, and yeah, that's what I was able to do. In the practice session, I feel comfortable, so yeah, again, super happy for the team to get, I think in the first race P2 and now P1 and P9. Good point for the championship. I think it should lead us back to P2 in the championship, but I'm not sure, so yeah.
With 2 races to go yet, Spa and Hockenheim. In any case, congratulations for that first place. And let's go to the second place. Paparinopoulos, second in the first race and second in the second race, if I remember correctly.
Sorry, what place? I didn't hear well.
So you made second in the first and in the second race, correct? Do I remember correctly?
I think no. I think in race 1 P4 or something. Not sure. I can't remember.
Okay.
He was in second right until the last little while,
yeah,
and then
yeah.
fell down to P4.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Race 1 was a bit mess, so yeah, I don't remember well. A lot of fights, a lot of good fun.
So have you driven Norisring before?
Yes, I know this track. I race here some other series. It's very nice and very demanding. It's how can I say it? It doesn't look to it because it's only straight and 2 hairpin, let's say. But it's so demanding, It's very very tough for me to watch, at least.
And bumpy.
Yeah, and bumpy and difficult to hit every breaking point, every lap, every time. But yeah, good fun.
You could see it in the images how bumpy all the cars were behaving, and I suppose that is something that you notice on the wheel too.
Yeah, especially in race 1 when we have some fights, and also I have a half spin or a complete spin, I don't remember, and I have massive vibrations. But yeah, that's a DTM, it's very competitive, and sometimes, yeah.
Yeah,
things
DTM is a
happen, you know.
contact sport, as
Yeah.
they said in its heyday.
Yeah. I'm glad
it-
that I was fast enough to fight with guys in front, at least.
Yeah, I mean, fourth and second, not bad results at all. In any case, congratulations on that position, and we'll see each other next week in Spa.
Thank you very much, Monsieur. And I want to also thank you for commentating and doing all the live stream. It's very nice. I'm
Our
very happy
pleasure.
we have you.
Our pleasure. These races are so much fun.
Absolutely.
In any case, until next week in Spa, save fuel, collect pickup, and we'll see each other at the podium. Bye.
Bye.
Right.
Great.
Okay,
Thank you.
we are good. Yes, thank you, guys.